Okay, let's talk about math. Sometimes in math, we have to do something with fractions called division. That means at times when we're doing math, we need to take a fraction and we need to divide it by another fraction. So when you're doing fraction division, we need to be able to handle that. So how do you divide with fractions? That's what we're talking about today. So when you're dividing with fractions, let me give you an example problem. We did 1/8 divided by 1/5. So the key to doing a division problem with fractions is we want to turn the division problem into a multiplication problem. We already learned how to do multiplication with fractions, and if you need to brush up on that, go back and watch the video titled Fractions times Fractions. That'll tell you how to multiply fractions. But this is a division problem, not a multiplication problem. So how do we turn a division problem into a multiplication problem? Well, here's how. You're going to take the first fraction and you're going to multiply it by something, but you're not going to multiply it by 1/5. You're going to multiply it by 5/1 instead of 1/5. Notice that fraction done got flipped. This is what we call in math a reciprocal. A reciprocal is when you turn a fraction upside down, when you flip the top and the bottom, when the numerator and the denominator get switched. So notice the 1/5 turned into a 5/1, and we can now do the division as a multiplication problem because dividing with fractions is the same as multiplication, you just have to flip the second fraction. Okay, do you change the first fraction? No. You flip the second fraction, and then we're just going to multiply top times top, bottom times bottom. 1 times 5 on top, 8 times 1 on the bottom, and we're done. 5/8 is our answer to this problem. Here's another example just to make sure we got the idea. If you have 6/7 divided by 4/7, okay, we're going to turn that division problem into a multiplication problem. How? Keep the 6/7 the same, but we're going to multiply it by the reciprocal of 4/7, which is 7/4. Then we're going to do top times top, okay, bottom times bottom. In this case, the 7's cancel out, and it's going to reduce to 6/4. Then you can reduce that to 3/2. Then you can change that into simplest form, which would be the mixed number 1/2. If you're not sure how I got to any of those, just make sure that you're simplifying all of your fractions, and eventually you should get to the same answer I got to. Okay, so what if you had 1/4 divided by 4/5? Just another example. You don't have to write this down, just kind of pay attention and make sure it makes sense. What are we going to do? We're going to flip that second fraction and multiply instead of divide. So on top we got 1 times 5, on the bottom we got 4 times 4. And if this example problem made sense to you, then you're in good shape and you should be ready to go. But just to make sure, let's check ourselves with these example problems. Again, you don't have to write these down. Let's just make sure these make sense. If you have 1/7 divided by 1/7, what does that come out to? The answer to this one actually should come out to 1, because anything divided by itself comes out to 1. Kind of makes sense, huh? Okay, how about this one? 1/7 divided by 1/2. Okay, so you're going to think about what you're going to do with each of those two fractions. 1/7 stays as 1/7. 1/2 flips over and it's going to be 2/1, and when you multiply that out, you should get 2/7. Did it work? I hope so. If it didn't, pause it, try it again, rewind, make sure you're on the right track. Okay, how about this one? 3/10 divided by 1/5. This one might take a second to make sure that you have it all simplified in simplest form, but we're going to use the same process. So 3/10 divided by 1/5 is the same as 3/10 times 5/1. And when you do this correctly, you should get 15/10, but that reduces to 1/2. All right, here's your practice problems. Hope this makes sense. I think you'll be able to get these pretty quick. Try these at home. We will cover the answers in class tomorrow. Good luck!